Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. It's me, Tisha Michelle, your host. So, of course, you guys know how I love to get started, and I like to get started by expressing gratitude. So if you are new to Seeing with Your Soul, welcome, welcome, welcome. Over here, we like to start off, just by expressing our gratitude, just by putting that good juju and that good energy out into the world. It's a great practice that I highly suggest for everyone to do. And it's just simple. It's just when you wake up in the morning, just express some gratitude. Just really scan your life and just put out there the things that you are grateful for. Whether you just say, my family, my kids, my car, my house, that's great. But I always like to say, go a little bit deeper. Maybe you're grateful for the conversation that you had with someone last night that was just eye-opening. Maybe you're grateful for, the person who held the door open for you. Whatever it is, just don't be afraid to go a little bit deeper and just scan through in your life. So in this present moment right now, I am grateful to be outside. It may sound a little wonky here because I'm actually walking the track. And lately, your girl has been on some shit like, I need to release this weight. Notice I said I didn't say that I need to lose weight because I ain't trying to find that shit later, right? And our words are very, very powerful. So I want to release, right? And I will be honest, I don't like to exercise. I have no, I have no desire to get up and exercise, and my desire to release this weight wasn't even really strong, because if it was, I would push through and just do some goddamn exercising, right? But personally, I have found that when I do those things that I don't like, I don't do them. If I don't like it, I don't do it. I'll start and I'll be like, no, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. But I love to walk. I love to walk because not only is it just as far as the physical aspect, but it allows me to clear my mind. It allows me to get quiet, and it allows me to hear myself. So many solutions to things that I'm perceiving as problems just to drop in. And I know that I'm just like knocking, more than one thing out. So I'm out now and I am walking the track, and I pulled over a little bit. Yes, I pulled over from walking the track and there's some benches right here. And I was like, let me record this podcast as these things keep popping in my head. So bear with me if you hear, a lot of noise. I promise you it's not the editing people, because they are amazing. It is because my ass is outside with all types of noise around me. So but anyhow, so, I'm just grateful to just be outside enjoying this great weather and being able to physically walk. So I don't take that for granted at all. So that is one of the things in this present moment that I am grateful for. Another thing that I am grateful for are my clients/friends. And when I say that, it's because, first of all, it's super weird to me calling my clients, but they are clients, right? There is a transaction that's there. However, there's certain ones that just become just so much more, even though I treat everyone the same, but then, there's those few that, you just get that little more oomph with, right? And if you have been following me or listening to the podcast for a little while, you would know that in July, I launched my network. And I launched my network, which is Hag TV. Right now, it is currently on Roku, and later on, it'll be on Fire Stick, and then it'll be on Apple TV, as well as the app for Google and iPhone people, right? So I had this date, and I just picked this date. I picked, July 28th. It was a good day for an amount of time to be able to, get content up, get the people on board, and launch. But then I also check my numbers when it goes into I had my friend check for Batsy and then check just numerology wise. So there was a very, very good high vibration energy around that. So I said July 28th. That was just my date. So I put it out a little bit onto social media. I didn't do a whole big shebang because I was like, this is going to be a soft launch and then I'm going to do the launch, like pulling out the bells and the whistles, right? So I had put it out, so just out there, no big deal. So then I didn't do anything gearing completely like up for this soft launch where I was just going to like drop all these posts and this content and all this stuff and dangling the carrot and all of that stuff. I didn't do any of that because I was just like, you know what? It's already live because the distributor people, I said, okay, I want to go live on it to be live on July 28th. So they put it in the stuff for Roku. Well, Roku was very like eager, I guess, because they loved my content. No, I'm just kidding. But it was up for when a time I told them, they said, you got to let us know at least 2 weeks prior. So Roku could make sure that it's live on there. Well, after I let them know, it was like 2 days and like Roku had it live. So anybody that stumbled upon it or whatever would be able to see the content. So I was like, well, it's already live. So in my mind, my mind just bugging, making up all types of stuff and was just like, well, it's already live. I did tell a couple people, so I don't have to make a big deal about it on the 28th. I'll just wait until I actually do the launch. Right? So July 28th rolls around. And my cell phone and my DMs start blowing up. And no cap. I'm not even tripping. I'm not even boosting. Like, I'm getting these messages and they're like, happy July 28th. Like, oh my gosh, are you excited? Like, recent. I'm like, what are they talking about? And I'm like, oh my God, y'all were listening? Y'all were watching? Y'all remember? This is what I'm thinking, right? So most of these people are on the East Coast. So when I'm getting the messages, it's mad early because I'm on the West Coast at the time. I was like, oh my God, all these people are sending me congrats and saying like, are you excited? I'm going to go out and buy Roku. And I'm like, wow, right? So it was so like emotional for me because I'm like, yo, that's so dope that you guys like even like remembered, or not even that you remembered, but you were paying attention. Right? So one, you never know, like people are watching you. So they may not say nothing. They may not, be making like a big deal, but people are watching. So it was so cool. So they all sent me, I had because some of them don't have my actual cell phone number. So they were sending me messages on Instagram. And then I was getting like text messages. I was like, oh my God. I was like, so I guess I should probably do a video, right? So I do a video letting everybody know that it's live. And it was so good because they fueled me. So I'm super hyped for the people who are watching and taking note and even like letting me know like how proud they are and how excited they are. But what I'm really grateful for when I said like my clients / friends is that there was a group of them and they all got together behind my back and, found the address of like where to send me something. And they all put together a bunch of gifts that were all totally relatable to me. And then they all wrote me like a personal like note. And it was so cool. They got this for me, congratulating me on the launch of my network. And then in a letter, they were expressing how it is that they felt about me and like what I've helped them to do. Because I didn't do anything for them. I just helped guide them, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, look, guys, I talk about being vulnerable and stuff, but I'm new to this vulnerable stuff, right? Only like 2 years, a little 2.5 years actually expressing myself. Because, I was not a big crier. I watch like the stories, the soap operas of it, be like crying my eyes out and stuff. But when it's like real life stuff, I'm like holding everything in. And I've gotten way better, with that since I've been on my self-discovery journey. But I'm not even going to front. They low-key had me in tears. Like, so you guys, I know a lot of you are listeners, and I sent each and every one of them, I messaged them, thanking them. And I don't need to put like their names and all that stuff out there because they are still my clients. So that's still confidential unless they want to put it out there. But I just know that I am super, super grateful for each and every one of you guys because that was so, so meaningful to me, So that's what I'm thankful for in this present moment. And while I was walking, it was just like hitting me that, yes, I did, message everyone individually, but I'm super grateful. And I just want everyone to know about that. And again, I can't drop their names because of confidential, reasons, but they know who they are. And actually their names really don't matter as a collective. It just matters the fact that, I have those people in my life. And I know you guys have those people too. So when you're scanning your life, think about the people that are in your life and and the things that completely like shocked you and stuff, and express some gratitude out there to the universe. So right now it's your turn. So unless you were driving, I want you to just go ahead and close your eyes, right? Let's get grounded and let's take a couple deep breaths. So go ahead and just take a deep breath, breathing in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Yes. So we just wanted to center ourselves, just get relaxed, get comfortable, get back to that heart-centered place, because we are all purely love. And sometimes we forget that because it's mixed with so many things. So in this present moment, what are you guys thankful for? Go ahead and say it out loud, say it in your head. If you're journaling now, go ahead and write it down. It's just important to express that gratitude. So whether it's one thing, two things, three things, whatever, what is it that you are grateful for? Just put it all out there. Okay. That should be enough. If not, keep going. That's why you're listening to me. All right. All right. So like I told you guys, I was walking the track. Then I pulled over to these bleachers because these things were popping in my head. And I was like, I need to record this podcast. Right. And that is honestly how I do my podcast. Right. So I've always been the type of person that is really hard to like plan and put things down and say, this is what I'm going to talk about. And here's all these things and write everything down. I'm more of a like, let it flow in the way it drops and it comes to me. Sometimes, depending on what it is, I will jot down a couple of things I want to make sure that I don't forget to like mention, but it's always really like a flow thing. So this is why I'm always like recording in like the randomest places and stuff, because it's like, it's hitting me and I got to like say it then, like, right? So there were two things that were standing out for me as I was walking. And it was one is to talk to you guys about trusting yourself. And I wanted to share something with you. And the other was that to let you guys know that we never get rid of the part of ourselves that we've been hiding from, right? So I'm going to explain both of those two. So the first thing, you absolutely can trust yourself, right? So the other day, we were all over my friend Janine's house. So my kids were there. So we were sitting there and I said, oh my God, I really want to get something from KFC. And I was like thinking in my head, and I was like, oh my God, I could totally get me some chicken. I was like, I'll get me the coleslaw and the mashed potatoes. I was like, yeah. So that was already planted in my head from a conversation that I'd had with someone a couple of days prior. So the whole KFC thing was in my head. It sprinkled back around and I'm like, I want KFC. And it was all in my head. So then Janine says, oh my gosh, have you ever had Cane's? And I was like, nah, I haven't had Cane's yet. And she was like, the chicken is so good. And I was like, cool. I was like, do they have mashed potatoes? And she was like, no. So my son was like, yeah, they do have mashed potatoes. And then my daughter, the youngest daughter, 15-year-old, she was like, yeah. So she co-signed. She was like, yeah, they have mashed potatoes. I was like, oh, bet. Well, if they have mashed potatoes, I was like, I'm all for it. If you say the chicken is good, that's cool. I'll get it. But she was like, no, I don't think that they have mashed potatoes. And then my son was like, no, they have mashed potatoes. Like, trust me, they have mashed potatoes. They have like the coleslaw. Then my daughter was like, yeah, that they have it. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, if that's the case, then bet I'll get Cane's. So as long as I can get my mashed potatoes and gravy. So Janine's over there quiet. And all of a sudden I hear her on speakerphone and they're like, thank you for calling Cane's, yada, yada, whatever they say, right? So I'm just looking at her and she was just like, hi. She's like, do you guys sell mashed potatoes? And and they were like, no, we don't, right? So then my son, he goes, they're lying. And then my daughter says, just hang up the phone. Like, just hang up the phone. Like, they're lying. So she was like, I knew it. I knew that they did not have mashed potatoes. It's one of my favorite places to go. And I knew that they didn't have that. Now, both of my kids are dead ass serious saying that they have mashed potatoes, right? So I'm looking at her and I was like, this is why you're supposed to trust yourself. If you absolutely knew without a doubt, why are you even entertaining what either of these kids have to say about this? And now that you even got to like call and stuff, you need to trust yourself, right? So that was playing through my head. So to give you more of this, Both of my kids are knuckleheads. They knew damn well that there was no damn mashed potatoes there. My son was just talking mess, and my daughter was just co-signing for him, right? They're just little jokesters, but they were dead ass serious, right? So I believed them. And so I wanted to share that with you because with Janine, she knew she's gone to Cane's plenty of times. Like I said, it's one of her favorite places, and she knew that they didn't have any mashed potatoes. However, she let them two get into her head and have her to question herself and to doubt herself, that she then had to then call the place and ask them just so she could get reassurance that she knew that she was right. So that happens so much in our lives, right? Think about it. You know something to be true because you trust yourself, no matter where it is that it came from, whether intuitive or whatever the case, you believe it to be true. But then you let outside people get in your head and cause you to doubt yourself, right? So now that you're doubting yourself, you're now reaching out to another outside force just to reassure you that you can trust yourself. And this is how we get things thrown off so much. This is how we become totally confused. This is how we feel like we just can't trust ourselves because someone else says something to be true, even though you know it to be true and you feel it in your body and everywhere to be true, you still allow someone else to get into your head. And that is a problem. So I want you guys to know that you absolutely can trust yourself. You can trust yourself. Don't let anybody get in your head. Don't let anybody cause you to doubt yourself. You know what is true. Janine knew damn well that Cane's didn't sell any damn mashed potatoes. They don't even sell other type of chicken. They only have chicken strips. So I didn't even know that because I wanted a chicken wing, guys. I wanted some actual chicken wing, original chicken wing from KFC. And she said Cane's chicken was great. And it is great, but it was chicken strips. It was chicken strips. So their menu is very limited. It's not like they got a whole batch shit of stuff on their menu. It's dead ass, very, very short. She knew they didn't have it, but she allowed them to get in her head. Allow them to get in your head. So I want you guys to understand that you can trust yourself. If you know something to be true, you believe it to be true because you feel everything in you and you've experienced it, don't let nobody get in your head. Don't let nobody get in your head at all. Don't. Now, while my kids were just messing around, that stuff happens for real. Where we feel so true and we believe something, within us, and then we start to doubt ourselves. Especially when it's our intuition, right? When it's our intuition and we have that intuitive feeling, that gut feeling, and then we listen to someone else and then something happens. And I know you guys can relate to that where you no, I know I should have listened to myself. Why did I even bother to listen to her? Why did I even do that? It's because you're allowing other people to cause you to doubt yourself. So no, we're not going to be doubting ourselves anymore because we can trust our goddamn selves. We know what it is to be true when we're checking in within ourselves, right? So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was just like a prime good example of how we can let some outside people influence us and have us to doubt ourselves. And then we're going to seek another external source in order to clarify what we already knew to be true. So we're going to stop that, right? So it's 2020. A lot of people are starting to awaken. A lot of people are starting to learn more about ourselves. So the one thing is that we can trust ourselves. We can trust ourselves more than we can trust anybody else. And a lot of times what we do is we put our trust into these outside, oh my God, this guy is cutting some grass or something. He's being so disrespectful. I know he sees me here recording this podcast. So I apologize, guys. And I think it's getting even louder. Oh my God. Maybe I can move. Somewhere. But anyhow, so you guys are going to go on a little walk with me. So yeah, like I said, it's 2020. We're waking up. We're getting more in tune. So we have to start trusting ourselves. We have to start trusting our bodies, right? Our bodies will never lie to us. So something to be true, or you're going to sit with it. How is it making you feel? And just start trusting yourself. So the more that you can really tune in with yourself and trust yourself more and more, whether it goes from the smallest things to the biggest thing, you'll start to understand and realize that you have that compass that's inside of you, that's guiding you, and that you don't need these outside external people or situations or things to let you know what it is that is true for you. So let's focus more on trusting ourselves and putting that trust within ourselves versus outside people. Knuckleheads like my son and my daughter telling her that they do got mashed potatoes, and she knew damn well they have no mashed potatoes. Oh, and just to give you guys an update, I still didn't get my mashed potatoes. Sad. Okay, so the other thing that was coming to me while I was walking, oh man, I need to sit down somewhere, but it seems like everybody decided to come up here because they knew that Tisha was recording a podcast for you guys. So they was like, oh man, let me just disrupt her and throw her off. So again, bear with me, guys. So, okay. So the other thing I want to talk about is that we never get rid of the parts of ourselves that we've been hiding from each other. So let me explain that, where this even came from. I had a client the other day that said, I'm so ready to do this healing thing and to just get rid of all of this stuff and just be done with it. I said, well, so I want to let you in on a little something. We don't ever get rid of it. What? All right. So we don't get rid of it. So we have our shadow side. So let me take it back a little bit. And some of you that have worked with me may have heard me talk about this, and some of you, it may just be new. So where is this thing called shadow work? So what is our shadow? Our shadow is the part of ourselves that we want to hide. We hide it from the world. So we hide it from family, friends, society, ourselves. Some of the things we've completely blocked out because of an experience that we had, and that experience made us feel a certain way. So we've then blocked it out. And sorry, somebody just ran past me on the track and they were talking, so it threw me off. So that shadow part is where we've had such a bad experience. And when I say a bad experience, the way that it made us feel that we didn't want to feel like that anymore. So subconsciously we blocked it out. The gatekeeper came up and was like, I'm going to protect you. I got you. We ain't going to ever think about that. We ain't going to talk about it. Nothing. And then later on in life, something happens and it triggers the shit out of us, right? And then it comes up and we're like, oh my God, and we're thinking about this thing and we don't want to think about it. So that is our shadow side, right? So do you know when you were little kids and you used to be afraid, and you see that kid that's afraid of their shadow and running, they could never get rid of it because the shadow's always there. No matter if you dip to the left, you dip to the right, shit, you backing up, whatever, that shadow is still there. Yes, because we never get rid of that part of ourselves. What we are meant to do is to acknowledge it, right? Acknowledge that part. We're embracing it, and now we're integrating it. Right? We're integrating it because it is a part of us. So we have it, while we have it on the outside of us, we have it there. Like, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to feel the pain from it. We don't want to do anything. But we want to heal. We want to just get rid of it. We're never going to get rid of it, but we are meant to integrate it. So we're one because we are one. So it could be something like, I don't know, maybe like society says, talks about people being short, right? So people being short. So then you start to have this complex about being short, and you wish that you were taller, and you don't like it. So you don't like to go around and be around people because you're going to be the shortest person there. So you don't go to a lot of events, or all you do is wear heels because it gives you a little bit more height, and that makes you feel like you can belong and you can fit in. Right? So that's a part of yourself that you want to hide from people. So if you know that everybody around you is way taller and it makes you look so much shorter, you just avoid being that. So you want to represent. So who told you? What is the problem with being short? Right? Where did that come from? Who got into your head, society, family, friends, or whatever, and that said it there? And people be like, oh, you got that short person complex. Like, what does that even fucking mean? Right? So we want to integrate that. You want to embrace who you are. You want to embrace your shortness, or whatever it is that you want to be, calling it, right? So we're embracing that part. So this is where you say, you know what? I don't even feel like wearing heels, but I want to go out, but I don't want to be the shortest person. Don't wear the heels. Take the heels off and you just go to wherever it is that you were intending on going, and embrace who you are. Embrace that. Right? So, or maybe you have a problem because you feel like you're too tall. It's the opposite. right? And that's a part of you that you're hiding, and you're hiding it because you're not going out to certain places because you're going to be the tallest person. Someone's going to say something about being tall. But even if someone says something about you being short, someone says something about you being tall, then you correct them on that. You correct them on that. You let them know, I love my height. I love everything about me, right? Because when people project things onto you, there's an unhealed portion of themselves, and that's where that is coming from, right? So if you have been, okay, what other examples we want to give? Because it's deeper. Those can be deep for some people, but it's deeper. So if you've been abused as a child or older, that is something that you don't want other people to know about. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to revisit it because maybe you blame yourself. Maybe you feel like something is wrong with you and that's why that happened. Maybe you also blame yourself saying like, well, did I ask for this? Did I cause this? Whatever the case may be, that is a shadow side of you. And it's never going anywhere. It's always going to be there, but it's up to you on how you integrate that process. Do you keep that just buried away and you just keep chucking on in life and making decisions and not realizing that the decisions you are making are all around the abuse or the trauma that happened in your life, and not even being fully aware of this is a part of the reason why you keep people at a distance and you don't allow people into your life. You don't allow people to get close to you. You don't allow yourself to experience love, right? Is that how you want to continue to experience it? And if you keep it buried there, what ends up happening is one day in life, something happens. Someone does something, someone says something, you see something on TV, and boom, you are triggered. And the floodgates open, and the anger comes through, and then the confusion comes through, and all these different mixed emotions come through, and you feel like you're spiraling out of control, and you're like, what the fuck? And you think that you're crazy, and you're not. It's just that after all of these years, or that time, whatever it is, you buried it. You buried it. You never dealt with it. So now you're being forced to deal with it. And once you're being forced to deal with it, it's always a lot more painful because to you, it feels like it came out of the blue and it caught you off guard and you don't know what to do. And now this thing is here, this thing that you thought was out of sight, out of mind, right? So we never get rid of those parts of ourselves. It's just up to us to now integrate it. And that's what the healing process is. The healing process is integrating it and accepting it and embracing it and taking the power away from it so that it is no longer holding us back. So no, you're not going to just get rid of those parts of you. We never do. It's us. It's all a part of us. It's a part of our experience, part of our journey, part of our life. It's a part of our soul, and it's just up to us to decide, what do we want to do with this? How do we want to just keep it blocked and just out of sight, out of mind? And then if we get triggered, again, we just try to bury it even more and keep bury deeper and deeper and deeper because it's never going to go anywhere. It's never going to go anywhere. And, some of you guys who have taken my inner child course, just know it's something that I always say is that if you really truly want to understand who you are and why you do the things that you do, you revisit your childhood. Because that's where a lot of the things that are our shadows are shaped and formed, is when we're a child, because we don't have that level of discernment. And what we do know is that the feeling that we had is something that we don't like, and we don't like how it made us feel, and we don't want to feel like that again. So again, our subconscious mind throws up that gatekeeper and says, I got you, don't worry. I got you, I'm gonna protect you. I'm not gonna allow you to feel like that again. And a lot of times when we don't want to feel like that again, that greatest part is the relationships that we have in our lives. And not just romantic, just friends, with family and everything. We keep people at a distance because we don't want to feel somebody hurt us when we were a child, and we don't want to be hurt again. So we won't allow ourselves to be close to anyone. And when we don't allow people to get close to us, what we're saying is we are guarding our heart to the point that we're not even allowing ourselves to be loved, where the deep-rooted issue that is there is that we feel like we don't deserve love. So then every experience that happens around that is based off of, I don't just feel like I deserve to be loved. And I want to protect myself from not feeling like the way that I felt when I was a child, when I, had this experience of abuse or this traumatic event. And then everything just happens around there. So yes, while we are an adult, we're a whole adult. We just got older. We just got bigger in size, but we still are that little girl or that little boy that was traumatized. And the trauma does not have to mean that it was physical or sexual. It could have been from just not receiving enough attention, from not receiving that love as a child. It could be from being bullied, being made fun of about something, where there's people who, when they were a child, because their family, whatever their situation is, that they were poor. They did not have designer clothes because, below, the way society makes you feel like you're less than if you don't have designer shit, right? So you buy into that. And then you buy into that because people are making fun of you because you have no name brand shoes on, no name brand. I mean, and it's crazy because they are a brand. They're just not a brand that's, popular and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So you get made fun of, right? So now, as an adult, you are so consumed with what people think of you that you will spend your rent money to make sure that you got the new Jordans, the Gucci, the Prada, whatever the other shit is that's out there, right? And now all you do is wear name brand. Not only do all you do is wear designer and name brand, but you make it known. And you make it known that you have this. You can have on a plain white t-shirt, but you have to let people know that it's Gucci. Even though we can't even see that shit. We don't fucking care. You can get it out from Walmart. We don't care. But you care because you don't ever want to feel like you felt when you were in the 3rd grade and everyone was making fun of you because you had on the no-name brand shoes while other people had on the nice stuff and you wore the same clothes, in a week's time. You don't want to feel like that. So now you're going to make sure that you have all the designer shit at whatever cost it is. Maybe you're not even spending your rent money on it. Maybe you're just overworking yourself to make sure that you have the nice luxury clothes, the nice luxury house, the nice luxury car. You want to have all those things and you want to make sure that you let everybody know that you have it, right? This is where you post your whole life on social media. Why? Because you want everybody to see how great you are and how amazing you are and how you can afford all of these things, because there's a part of you that something happened when you were younger or whatever age it was, and you don't want to feel like that again. You don't want nobody to make fun of you. You don't want nobody to think less of you. You don't want people to think that you're a nobody. So now you're going to do all this material stuff, right? So that's a traumatic event that happened because now you're shaping your life around it. You might be busting your ass working just to show these things that you have to other fucking people. So I get people who say, well, no, I didn't have any type of that in my life. No one physically abused me or sexually abused. I'm like, that's not the only thing that's trauma. And that's great. That's great. But there are other things that shape who we are. And that's one of them, right? Or if you got made fun of, you got left out at something, at a party, for a birthday party as a child. And now you're going to make sure you don't ever feel like that. So guess what? You're the one doing the inviting all the time. I'm the one having all the parties because I don't ever want to be left out. So you might not even like being that person, but you also don't want to be left out from anything. Or it can go into the other part too, where you don't have to worry about getting left out of stuff because you're always too busy to go to things anyway. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to just not even put myself into a position where I get, left out and feeling like that. So it gets masked with something else is what I'm saying. So we're never going to get rid of those parts of ourselves ever. It's just time for us to integrate the light with the darkness because they go together. I've said this plenty of times before. How can you truly say that I love the light? I love the light if you've never experienced the dark. How can you? How can you sit there and say like, oh my gosh, like I just love being in this mood. I love being so happy and just feeling so free and just vibrant and all of this. If you've never experienced being sad, the grief, being mad, being angry, right? So we have to integrate the two. So we're not walking around in life just happy-go-lucky. No, because we have the ebbs and the flows of life, right? And when we are angry, that's great that you are angry. You know, with anger comes change. With change comes growth, right? Again, we learn to experience and we learn to embrace that anger, right? So I tell people all the time, if you are angry, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means that something needs to change so you can grow. So how do we step back and we ask ourselves, well, what am I angry about? Why am I angry about this? How is it actually really making me feel? How can I express this anger? Like, do I want to go out and just punch somebody in the face? You may want to, but you know what? That comes with some consequences that makes everything even more worse. So maybe a way that you do and express this anger is you go to one of those axe throwing places, right? You pay them a little bit of money, whatever it's cost, so you can take the axe and you can just throw it because now you're getting it. Or the place, I forget what it's called, where you can just go and you can smash things and you can get your anger. That's a healthy way to express your anger. Get that shit out of your system and then see what else drops in. So again, we're not going to get rid of those parts. It's just time to integrate the two. So when I was walking, those were the two things that just kept popping to me and was like, you need to just talk about it. You need to talk about it. You need to remind people that you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself more than you can trust any outside external shit. And we're never going to get rid of those parts of ourselves that we want to hide and we want to bury as much as we want because that shit's going to come up. Point blank period, is going to come up, right? So why don't we, since we like to run around acting like we're in control of everything, why don't we take a little more control of this by allowing ourselves to heal? And in order to heal, we have to feel. In order to feel, we need to allow those experiences to come up, right? I want to talk about something else real quick when it comes to trusting ourselves. I was having a conversation with my friend and we started talking about like illnesses and stuff. So I don't remember, quite a few years ago, I was diagnosed with lupus, right? And the way that experience actually happened was I was getting out of the car one day and I had this really bad pain in my hip that I could not walk. I was like, I can't get into the place until we're going home. And I had to have my son help me. Okay. So then the next day I was laying on the bed and I was so sore. My body was hurting so bad, so sore. I was like, did we work out? Seriously. And then my son was like, no. And I was like, no, stop, don't play, because we were just talking about working out. I'm like, did we work out and I completely forgot about it? He was like, no, I swear we didn't work out. And I'm like, something's not right. So I called my doctor, and I have an amazing relationship with that doctor at the time. And I called and I scheduled an appointment, got into the appointment, and he did this blood work. So the blood work comes back pretty quick with them. It's like the next day. So I get a phone call from the nurse, and the nurse is like, hey, Dr. Kapoor. And I love Dr. Kapoor, but he broke up with me. He moved to like Florida, somewhere else. So he was no longer like my doctor. It's like, whatever. Anyway, so they say, we want you to come in. So I go in and he's like, okay, so I got all your blood work back. He was like, and your inflammation markers were really high. And he was like indicating that you have an autoimmune disease. What? What's that? He's like, I just want to be sure. He was like, you know how I am, because he's a very thorough doctor. And he was like, you know how I am. He was like, that's not my specialty. He was like, so I want to refer you to a rheumatologist. I was like, okay. So he gave me 2 numbers. So I schedule, appointments with both of them because, I need options. So get in with both of them. I didn't like one of them. They just seemed too I don't even really see, there was no compassion there. There was no, let's talk, let's educate, none of that stuff. It was just like, oh, boom, this is what this is. And I'm like, nah, because I ain't buying into that shit. So I get with this other one, love him, he's amazing. He's like, look, I'm not going to diagnose you with lupus. He was like, everything is pointing to that, but I want to study you some more. I want to do some more tests and, symptoms and different things with you before I give you a diagnosis. He was like, I just don't just throw diagnosis and send you. So I appreciated that. So he did more tests, but deeper tests, And even though I was looking at these numbers and I was like, oh, well, this is good. And he was like, yeah, that is good. He was like, but with your age, your number should be here. So just because it wasn't being highlighted on the If you've ever had blood work done and your blood work comes back and they say, oh, if you are between a 0 and 50 and your number is like a 48, like you're good. That's in the normal range. So even though it's not showing that, oh, we need to be concerned, he's like, your number should be lower for your age and everything. So he's a really great doctor. So we go through all this stuff. So at this point now, I'm obsessed, right? I'm obsessed with this lupus shit. I'm in lupus groups. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like taking pictures of myself, sending them to trusted people. And I'm like, oh my God, do you see anything different? They're like, yeah, like there's this stuff on your face. I'm like, oh my God, I got the butterflies. I had the rash on my face. I was hiding from the sun. I was putting all this sunblock on. I was not going to Kings Dominion with people because it was just too sunny. I was wearing like those hats because they said I had to protect myself from the sun. And even if it was cloudy out and everything. So with lupus, what they say is that it's your body attacking itself, right? So this is what I took in from that. If my own body I cannot trust because it is attacking me, then I cannot trust anybody else. What makes you think that I'm going to trust your ass, my boyfriend, you, my friend, you, associates, business? I ain't trusting none of y'all asses. If I can't trust my own body, please. So that wall and that guard and everything was up even more than it already was because I'm like, it's my body. And if I can't trust my body, I can't trust your asses, please. So all that fear and everything was just pumped and pushed into me that I was not trusting other people because I could not trust my body. I was hiding from the sun. So then one day, now this is before my spiritual awakening. So there's always, we have many awakenings and things in our soul and things will start to come up to surface to remind us and to get us off the detour. But it's really up to us to even listen or being available to listen because we have so much shit that's piled on top of it, right? So one day I was just like, something's not right about this. I don't like this. So not that my doctor was wrong and not that doctors are wrong. Based off of what they have in a definition and the symptoms, they diagnose you with something. So it's not to say he diagnosed me wrong. No, he diagnosed me correctly because the symptoms and the testings that they have around lupus and all of that stuff, absolutely, check. I checked all that shit off. Right? They had me on 21 fucking medicines, guys. 21 different medicines. I don't even like taking medicines. I had all these bottles of medicine. And because I'm private and I don't be telling people my business, I don't care who it is. My mom came in one day and was getting something out of the cabinet. And she was like, is there something I should know? No, why? No, because I just see all these medicines. I'm like, no, I'm good. Right? But yeah, if you would open up the cabinet and see those medicines, you'd be like, yo, she dying. Like, what the hell? There's no reason to be on all these different stupid medicines what started causing all these side effects and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not taking any of these medicines at all. The only thing that I was going to continue to take was my vitamins, my natural vitamins. And I went to the doctor and I said, I don't like these medicines. They have too many side effects. There's so many other things that's going on. I'm not taking them anymore. So he literally was like, it's your choice, which I'm glad he respected it because it is my choice. And I was like, you know what? I know that my body, I'm meant to be able to trust my body. And right now I'm afraid of my body. And I was like, and I know there's this deep part of me that just knows that that's not right. Now, again, guys, I hadn't even started fully onto this self-discovery journey where I was really like awakened and connecting to my gifts and understanding. But there was something strong in me that was just like, something's not right. I know that I'm supposed to trust my body. And right now I'm afraid of my body. And then I'm afraid of other people. Right. So, and which was another thing too, like, don't come around me if you're sick, right? Because I have autoimmune and you're not going to trigger that shit and have me all in the hospital and stuff, right? So it did affect some parts of me. It affected a part of my bladder. I ended up getting this little, I forgot what it's called, but this device actually that was put into me. It was like on like my butt area. It just was fucking crazy, right? I don't have that shit now. I had that taken out. Again, altering my body just based off of fear and off of these different things and stuff, right? So I said, no more medicine, stop the medicine. They had to put it into my chart. They put it in my chart and said, patient refused to take these medicines, da, da, da. So I stopped. I just cold turkey stopped all the medicines. I stopped obsessing over lupus. I got out of those groups that I was in, unsubscribed to the emails that I was getting. I stopped hiding from the sun. Yo, you see me now? Y'all seen pictures? I be in Arizona with a $110 laying out, chilling. Like, I love the sun. I need the sun. My body needs it. My soul needs it. And I was hiding from it, right? So now when it comes to my body, I love my body. I trust my body. I know that when I'm waking up and I'm feeling a certain part within my body that's not hurting, I know that my body is letting me know that I am not in alignment somewhere in my life. And I start to reflect and I start to go within. Because why? Because I can trust my body. I can trust myself. You can trust your body. You can trust yourself, right? So happy to say I don't have any of those symptoms or anything, nothing, none of that stuff. And I'm not telling you all to just, if you want a whole bunch of medicine, to just go turkey and take it off. I've always just been like that. Like, fuck it. I'm going to jump and grow those wings and figure that shit out later. That's just me. All I'm saying is that to step back and look at what's going on in your body and knowing that you can trust yourself and you can trust your body, go within. What part of my body is I'm having these aches and these pains or this illness that I have, right? You can even do something like just Google, right? Google's like one of my best friends. Google spiritual meaning of, and then whatever illness that you might have. A bunch of stuff will pop up. Again, this is where you get to trust yourself. Start reading through certain things, right? You read through certain things and see what resonates with you. So see, this is how it works here on Earth. You know how they say, well, you can't believe everything that you see online, da, da, da. That is very much true. But there's certain people who are put here, and that is a part of their gift while they're here, right? So with me, if you listen and I've said things that's like, damn, like that example she just gave is what's going on with me. Because that is a part of who I am and what I'm here for. I am here to help guide people to their truth, help to teach them to heal themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? That's my thing, right? That's what I'm here for. And I can do that through different ways. I do it through the podcast. I do it through my network. I do it through my one-on-one sessions or maybe my classes that I'm teaching. But the bottom line is the same, is to connect you to your truth, to remind you who the fuck you are, right? To remind you that you can trust yourself, you can trust your body, teach you how to heal yourself, how to mentally, the physically, the spiritually, all those different things. That is my gift and that is what I am here for, right? Well, we have other people who are here to do things like, okay, how are they teaching you to, trust in your body? How are they teaching you to heal yourselves in there? Well, they're bloggers. They're authors. They write books, right? So this is why I said, look through what pops up when you Google that and then find what resonates with you, what seems to be true, right? So when they sit there and say like, oh, having pains, on your left side, a part of that is the connection to your mother. What is the relationship like to your mother? And you're like, holy shit. Wow, I have so many concerns and issues when it comes to my mom, and I'm always getting these pains on my left side, and the doctors can't figure out what it is. Okay, that is an area that you need to work on, because your body is letting you know when something is not in alignment, right? So yeah, so it is simple as Googling and stumbling upon that person that is what they are here for. That is their role, is to help guide us along, right? And to educate us and to get, into there. So I want to end this just by saying, summing all that up, is that you can always trust yourself. You can always trust in your body, right? And we're never getting rid of those things that we have tried to bury or hide from ourselves, hide from other people. It's just time to start to embrace that part of us, integrate it, because mind, body, and soul, it's all one. It is all one. So going back to me talking about the whole lupus thing, it was to the point that I was obsessing so much with it that I was having the rash, I was having this, I was having that, because I was focusing so much energy on this, right? I joined the groups on there. I subscribed to everything. So my whole world was lupus, 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 lupus. Of course I was feeling shitty. Of course I couldn't get out of bed. Of course I had a hard time walking. Of course I was having bladder issues that I had a fucking device put inside of me to help me with you. What? Lord had mercy. And another thing. So when I had that device put in, right, I had it in for a little while, and I started getting these weird ass pains, but they would check and they were like, no, it's right. Like, no, we don't see anything that's wrong. I'm like, I'm telling you, these pains that I'm getting is just not right. Something's not right. So they adjusted the thing where you get to move the levels up and stuff. Then I'd be back again. I'm like, yo, something's not right. So I was like, I'm going to get this shit taken out of. I just rather just deal with the bladder thing. I just rather just deal with it, whatever. So then I was talking to, this is something that I was just going through myself, right? So then I had this reading with Jessica, and if you've heard me talk about her before, if you listen to other episodes, and she says to me, And this is in the beginning. This is the first time when I had a session with her over the phone. And then when I flew out to Cali, I had it in person. So she doesn't know, we're not friends or anything in that sense. So she says to me, she goes, oh, and your guides are saying that device you have in your body, take that shit out. And my heart just dropped. And I was like, oh my God. Because she didn't know. It wasn't we talked about it. It wasn't like I said, can you ask them if they think that I should take this out of my body? No. She just said that device, that shit, because this is the way she does her readings. She's like, that thing in your body, you need to take that shit out. And I was like, wow. So I'm sharing that part with you too. Because again, I can trust myself. Because even though I kept going back to the doctor and they kept saying like, we don't see anything. We've adjusted it. We have it on the lowest level. We don't know where that pain is coming from, as if I was fucking crazy. They didn't say that, but that's how I was feeling. But I was like, no. And my spirit guides was letting me know, you can trust yourself. You was already having these pains. You knew something wasn't right, even though that they were saying, okay, no, I don't know where that's coming from. We've done everything. It can't be the device. What else could it be? What else could it be? But my body was letting me know that it just wasn't in alignment. That device, I didn't need that. That didn't need to be in me, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get this taken out, but I hadn't made the appointment. I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll just give it a little bit more and just to see. And then my guides was like, take that shit out, yo. You can trust yourself. You can trust yourself. So yes, booked the next appointment, had them take that thing out. And I haven't had any problems. I haven't had any problems because I'm not obsessing over it. And then, that was one of the big things I did because I hadn't fully been onto my journey. I wasn't obsessing over that stuff anymore. I wasn't believing that the sun was my enemy, right? I wasn't believing that my body was the enemy. I wasn't believing that I was having these bladder issues when in actuality it was because I was holding on to so many things in my life and I wouldn't release it, right? So once I then started to, awakening began, I really started to doing that internal work. And it's like, okay, what am I holding on to so tight in my life that I won't release it, right? Which then affects our bladder. This is how for when we get our UTIs. And that's the metaphysical part, is that we're holding on to something so tight. We're not letting anything go. So when you think about it, if you've ever experienced a UTI, it feels like you have to go to the bathroom so bad. And then you finally get to the bathroom and then it's like drip, drip. Like you're like, all of that for 2 fucking drops? I didn't even have to use the bathroom. And the metaphysical part is because we are holding on to things so tight and we won't let them go. Or when we do let it go, it's like a little bit. And then we get back tighter again, right? So then you scan and you think about, well, what is it in my life that I know to be true that I need to let go, but I know it's going to be painful. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to hurt. Yeah, release that shit. Release it because it's not doing you any good. So yes, you want to go through those emotions, right? You want to go through those emotions of being mad or being hard and all that, but it's always for our highest good, even though it feels shitty at the time, but it's still time to get past that, right? And to be able to release those things. So yeah, I didn't think that I was actually going to be sharing and expressing those things, but again, this is how it works, right? Walking the track, pulled over. I like saying that, guys. Pulled over to the benches and, Spirit said to talk about this. So yeah. I'm starting to see a lot more people showing up here. So that is my cue to go ahead and end this podcast. So I hope that there was something that I said that, tapped in and resonated with you guys and it can bring some type of clarity or some form of oomph or just something for you guys. And if it did and you want to go a little bit deeper, reach out to me and you can book a session. I am going to be taking some time off because actually, I'm just going to be taking some time off from one-on-one sessions. So I opened up some more sessions on my calendar than I normally do. And they will be to book 30-minute session or like hypnosis. But after the 27th, I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off. I don't know how long. I kind of have to just go with the flow of things. So if you want to get in on the session, you better get in now because I don't know when I'm going to be opening them back up. Yeah. Okay. That's all that I got for you guys. Until next time, bye. Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.